Some couples come to me with a very clear vision for their wedding photographs. They've saved images, talked about styles, and imagined what the day should feel like. Others don't. And most couples fall somewhere in between, having instincts, preferences, and feelings, but not quite the language yet to describe them. What they do have, almost always, is a desire for their wedding day to matter. They want it to feel honest. They want it to feel like themselves. And they want to remember it, not just how it looked, but how it felt to be there. What's often missing isn't care or attention, it's vocabulary. And that's where my work really begins. Not simply as the person holding the camera, but as a person responsible for understanding what matters, anticipating what might unfold, and being prepared, technically, creatively, and emotionally, to do justice to it when it does. Because some of the most meaningful photographs I've ever made weren't planned at all. They happened because care, preparation, and attention were already in place. Welcome back to In Focus with Ken Clough Photography. I'm Ken Clough, and today I want to talk about how creative vision is built with couples by learning the language of photography and emotion together. What creative vision really is. Creative vision is often misunderstood. It's easy to think of it as a look, a style, or a recognizable aesthetic. But for me, creative vision isn't about control or predictability. It's about alignment. It's the alignment between who a couple is, how their day naturally unfolds, and how those moments should live on years from now. That alignment doesn't limit creativity. It enables it. Because when vision is clear, I don't have to force moments or chase trends. I can recognize what matters when it appears. That recognition takes experience. It takes discipline, and it takes care. Creative vision isn't about making something happen. It's about being ready when it does. Photography has a language, and most couples are learning it for the first time. Many couples have never had to talk about photography this way before. They're not used to articulating how close or distant a camera should feel, when guidance feels helpful versus intrusive, how much structure helps them relax, or how emotion should live inside an image. They're not lacking in taste or intention. They're simply new to the language. So part of my role, before the camera ever comes out, is translation, not teaching couples how to think like photographers, but helping them talk about feeling, comfort, and memory in visual terms. And understanding that conversation is a responsibility that doesn't get talked about enough. Once those feelings are understood, someone has to deliver on them. Language without skill is just talk. Skill without listening is just noise. The photography work lives in the combination of both. Why conversation comes before the camera. You can't photograph meaning if you don't understand people. But you also can't honor meaning if you're not prepared for it technically. Conversation builds trust. Trust builds comfort. Comfort allows presence, and presence is fragile. It requires a photographer who can work calmly and decisively when something real unfolds, without hesitation, without fumbling, and without pulling attention away from the moment itself. That calm doesn't come from improvisation. It comes from preparation, from knowing your tools so well they disappear, from having thought deeply about what matters before the pressure arrives. That is why conversation always comes first. The questionnaire as a creative starting point. I have a style questionnaire that I share with my couples. The questionnaire isn't about narrowing choices or locking anything in. It's about opening space. It invites couples to slow down and reflect, often for the first time, on how they want to experience the day. There are no right answers, no expectations to be creative or clever, just honesty. Often, couples realize things as they answer, like what they're drawn to emotionally, or what makes them anxious, or what matters more than they expected. For me, these answers don't dictate shots. They inform judgments. They help me prepare mentally and creatively, so that when something meaningful happens, I already understand its weight. Style as a way of describing feeling. When couples describe style, they're rarely talking about trends. They're describing feeling: romantic, playful, quiet, bold, or intimate. Even contradictions are revealing. They tell me this isn't about perfection. It's about complexity. My responsibility is to hold those nuances, to understand how different emotional tones can coexist, and to know how to express them visually without turning the day into a performance. That takes restraint as much as creativity. Posed, candid, and the myth that they're opposites. Every wedding includes posed photographs. Traditional family portraits matter deeply. They document who is there, and they become part of a family's history. When couples say they want candid images, they're not rejecting structure. They're usually expressing a concern that they don't want to feel stiff, watched, or self-conscious. Many couples believe they need to be coached to appear candid. I don't believe that at all. My role isn't to manufacture authenticity. It's to create conditions where people can simply be themselves. That means giving just enough direction, knowing when to step in and when to step back, understanding how to guide without interrupting. The posed photographs provide structure. The candid moments provide breadth. Both matter, and both require intention and competence, because neither gets a second chance. Why creative vision exists for the unplanned moments. Some of the most meaningful photographs I've made weren't planned. They happened between moments, during quiet pauses, in spaces no one thought to choreograph. Creative vision exists for these moments, so that when something unexpected unfolds, I already know how close to be, how to frame it, how to compose it, and how to let it breathe. Creative vision exists for those moments, so when something unexpected unfolds, I already know how close to be, how to frame it, how to compose it, and how to let it breathe. That doesn't happen by accident. It comes from having done the work ahead of time, listening, preparing, and imagining the possibilities, so that when that moment arrives, instinct and intention align. That's the responsibility of my role as a photographer. When couples don't have a clear vision, and why that's okay. Some couples arrive without a clearly articulated vision. That's not a lack of care. It's often a sign of trust. They may not know what they want visually, but they know what they value. Openness allows collaboration. It allows discovery, and it places responsibility on me to ask better questions, listen more carefully, and guide without imposing. That work is quiet, but deliberate. When couples say, "We trust you." When couples say they trust me, I take that seriously. Trust doesn't reduce responsibility, it increases it. It means I need to understand their values well enough to make good decisions on their behalf. Decisions they'll live with long after the day is over. So I ask about meaning, not just moments. And I prepare accordingly, technically, creatively, and emotionally, because trust deserves competence. Important moments, shot lists, and intentional waiting. Yes, I use shot lists. They're practical. They ensure that essential traditional moments are documented. Family groupings and family portraits, the images that matter deeply to parents, grandparents, and future generations. That structure is important. But structure alone doesn't create meaning. Alongside those written lists, I'm also carrying another kind of list, one that lives in my head. It's built from months of conversation. As the day unfolds, I'm constantly cycling through what I've learned. What moments matter most to this couple? What kind of energy they're drawn to? Where they want quiet and where they want celebration? And which interactions feel especially meaningful to them? That internal list guides how I move through the day. So while I'm making sure the needed photographs are captured, I'm also watching for the moments that can't be scheduled, a look that lingers, a pause before a hug, or a reaction no one planned for. That's where intentional waiting comes in. This kind of waiting isn't passive. It's active attention, anticipating interaction, reading the light, understanding how a moment might unfold before it does. It requires discipline, experience, and care, and that's where the creative vision we built together becomes real, when preparation and presence meet at exactly the right instant. From questions to understanding over time. This process takes time, and that time is intentional. I usually begin these conversations about 6 months before the wedding, and sometimes earlier, because creative ideas don't arrive fully formed. Understanding deepens gradually. Trust builds through repetition. Often, it takes multiple conversations for everything to settle into place. And through that process, something important happens. I don't just learn what couples like. I begin to understand what they need. Sometimes that means easing fears or anxieties, especially around being photographed or feeling exposed. Sometimes it means adjusting timelines so the day has space to breathe, so moments aren't rushed and photographs aren't forced. Sometimes it means helping couples understand what truly matters, and where flexibility will serve them better than perfection. By the time the wedding day arrives, we're not discovering things for the first time. We're responding calmly, confidently, and with care. Why this matters years later. Years later, couples don't remember how efficient the timeline was. They remember moments, the unexpected ones, the unplanned ones, the ones that felt real. Those are the images that get revisited, the ones that carry emotion forward. That's why preparation, discipline, and competence matter so much, because when a moment can't be repeated, it deserves to be handled well. Closing thoughts. When couples arrive with a clear vision, or none at all, the work is the same. Listening carefully, preparing intentionally, learning a shared language of photography and emotion, and bringing the understanding, experience, and care required to honor what unfolds when it matters most. Because photography isn't just about being the person with the camera, it's about being the person who understands what's happening and knows how to do it justice. Thanks for spending this time with me. I appreciate you listening. I'm Ken Clough, and this has been In Focus with Ken Clough Photography. Until next time, stay present and stay creative.